Welcome to PPR Global. Today, the incredible operations of the Ukrainian Air Force in the Kursk region were revealed. As Ukraine deepened its offensive to disrupt Russia's supply routes, it targeted another important bridge over the Seym River in the Kursk region of Russia. Ukrainian fighter pilot destroyed bridges in the Kursk region of Russia with MiG-29 fighter jets equipped with American ammunition. Awesome mission from Ukrainian legendary MiG-29 fighter pilot Kalayia. Here are the details of the news. To complete his mission, the Ukrainian fighter pilot used an American-made munition system designed to work with Ukraine's Soviet-era MiGs. The aim is to prevent Russian forces from advancing westwards and attacking Ukrainian infantry units. Mykola Oleshchuk, former commander of the Ukrainian Armed Forces Air Force, also released a video of the attack. Key moments were shown in the video, including a Ukrainian soldier loading a JDAM bomb onto a MiG-29 fighter jet. It was shown how the Ukrainian ace pilot's field crew carefully placed the American-made JDAM missiles on the fighter jet and was motivated by his mission. The experienced pilot calmly and precisely launched the JDAM bomb from the MiG-29 jet against important bridge crossings, vital for Russian military logistics in the region. The finale is the impact of the GBU-62 JDAM and the explosion that leveled the bridge over the Seym River. Although the risk of flying in areas protected by Russian air defense systems is very high, the Ukrainian pilot has once again proved to the Russian Federation that the balance has changed. Entering the air defense zone means a high probability of being destroyed. Moreover, in the areas covered by anti-aircraft defenses, they operate at extremely low altitudes and can approach the front line by flying at the lowest safe height above the terrain. The Ukrainian fighter pilot, whose call sign is Ground, became a legend in 2022 after shooting down 5 Russian drones that threatened the Ukrainian city before ejecting from his wreckage-damaged aircraft. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky presented him with the prestigious Hero of Ukraine award. Thanks to Boeing Defense, Space and Security's GBU-62 JDAM precision-guided munition, underpowered bombs have become accurate, all-weather offensive weapons. Aerodynamic slats and a GPS-guided tail kit increase the bomb range of the JDAM enabling remote engagements that reduce the risk of ejected aircraft. The GBU-62 JDAM Mark 84 transforms the 900 kilo Mark 84 bomb into a lethally powerful guided munition, capable of damaging military sites, bridges, and protected structures due to its high explosive yield. It was difficult to fit modern Western weapons inside the Soviet-made MiG-29. Ukrainian military engineers and technicians have made major modifications to overcome these obstacles. The MiG-29's avionics have been updated to integrate with Western weapon systems. Pilots and ground crews were intensively trained, often with Western partners, to operate and maintain these modified systems. Analysts say that the destruction of the bridges over the Seym is crucial to provide a secure flank for Ukraine's offensive in Kursk, making it difficult for Moscow to resupply its troops south of the river. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said earlier that Ukraine's operation in Kursk is still inflicting losses on the Russian army and the Russian state, its defense industry and economy. Zelensky also underlined that Ukraine's main goal in the offensive was to destroy as many Russian elements as possible and carry out maximum counter-offensive work to create a buffer zone. Sources reached out to the Ukrainian Air Force to ask whether Kalayya's mission in Kursk required it to fly into Russian airspace, but officials declined to comment on operational details. As you know, in August, Ukraine hit 3 more bridges in Kursk. After all, Kursk is not an ordinary front. It has symbolic and psychological weight. If we clarify this a little, we can see how far Kursk is from the reality of Putin's downplaying of the attack. In fact, when we evaluate Ukraine's attack on Kursk, Ukraine is attacking as a military force trained and equipped by NATO in a region that Putin evacuated by ethnically cleansing Ukrainians. This front, where the roles have changed in the current war, has a military significance, but perhaps even more symbolic, political and psychological weight. As the Second Ukrainian War is 2.5 years old, the Ukrainian offensive against the Kursk region of Russia is 1 month old as of 6 September 2024. The Kursk offensive marks a new era after 2 years of broad reservations by Ukraine's allies about their intention to retaliate on Russian territory. Kursk is remembered for the nuclear submarine disaster in 2000 and as the site of the largest pitched battle and the largest tank battle in history, which took place during the Second World War. Kursk is one of Russia's 83 administrative regions, and nearly half of its population of more than 1 million inhabitants live in the city of Kursk, the center of the region. Iron ore deposits are important in the region. There is a factory for processing the ore, and these iron deposits can even cause magnetic compasses to be deflected in the region. It is possible to say that the symbolic, political, and psychological aspects of this attack are not inferior to the military aspect. From the Ukrainian point of view, as a state with part of its territory under occupation, the occupying state's ability to hold a certain part of its territory provides a kind of balance and reciprocity, albeit limited. In future negotiations, it can be considered as a bargaining element or one of the levers to resolve the current knot. Likewise, Ukraine has thus demonstrated more strongly that Russia, which it had previously made point attacks with long-distance bombings, is not untouchable. Although Russia is known as a great military power, it is difficult to say that this power has been able to change its direction quickly or adapt to changes quickly since the past. So to speak, although Russia's military machine is powerful, it is a cumbersome structure. Russia's slowness to complete its buildup provides an advantage for Ukraine's surprise offensive. In the short term, Russia may have to gather and mass a larger force to defend Kursk and take control of the situation than the force Ukraine has deployed to the region.
No offense, but if you're paying more than $30 per month on car insurance, you're getting ripped off. Guys, so everyone is ditching their car insurance and doing this instead. The reason why you're likely overpaying for car insurance every month was because the majority of what you pay goes to commission for the insurance agent. But my friend showed me this cool website who cuts out the middleman. Basically cuts out the agent. That way, you only pay for insurance and you're not paying hefty commissions every month. That just makes the insurance companies richer. This website has liability for just $18 per month and full coverage insurance for $1 per day.
Of course, Russia must first overcome the difficulties in shifting forces to the new front. As long as Ukraine's presence in Russia continues, it will continue to have a positive effect on one side and a negative effect on the other side in terms of morale. Moreover, the city of Kursk is geographically central to the region, with the nearest point of the Ukrainian border 90 kilometers as the crow flies from the city center and 80 kilometers from the nearest suburb. The region is also home to a nuclear power plant, which is located on the general line between the center of the region and Ukraine, and is 60 kilometers as the crow flies from the nearest point of the Ukrainian border. The absence of any significant Russian defensive measures and buildups in this naturally difficult-to-defend region, with its many small villages, is very favorable for the attacking side to gain territory and achieve symbolic victories. Until the current war reaches a settlement, it is important for Ukraine to maintain its presence here, to force Russia to launch counterattacks, and to disrupt the adversary's resources through strategic defense of the adversary's territory. For Russia, it is important to eliminate Ukraine's presence here as soon as possible, while its possible efforts towards this goal will benefit Ukraine on other fronts of the war. If Russia fails to achieve this goal in a short time, Ukraine will be the winner of this front when all the consequences are taken into account. Ukraine's defense of the captured territories may not eliminate the region's status as a nodal point for Russia. The more the Russian command tries to seize them, the more troops the Russian armed forces will need to deploy in the region. It can be said, then, that as Ukraine advances in Kursk, it has to save resources on its other fronts. This progress may tend to become more difficult as time progresses and Russia deploys more forces. Russia's counterattacks will relieve Ukraine on other fronts, as it will require Russia to shift forces that could be used on other fronts. Looking at the war in general, perhaps in the medium term, success at Kursk may mean wearing down the opponent through defense. However, the psychological and moral repercussions of the current front and occupation make the situation more complicated. As long as Ukraine's presence in Russia continues, it will continue to have a positive effect on one side and a negative effect on the other, in terms of morale. In summary, we can say that the new front is the most important front of the war in certain respects. Thank you for following us.